When you go to buy an SSD and see words like SATA, M2, NVMe, PCIe, does it feel like random letters instead of real information? You are not alone. Most people do not buy the wrong SSD because they are careless. They buy the wrong one because the names are confusing on purpose. In the next few minutes, I will explain SSDs in plain language, what actually matters, what does not, and exactly which SSD you should buy so you do not waste your money. Before we get into the details, here's the big truth. Not all SSDs are fast, and not all fast SSDs are worth buying. The speed of an SSD depends on just three things: how it connects to your computer, the technology inside it, and the language it uses to talk to your system. Once you understand these three things, SSDs stop being confusing forever. Let's start with SATA. SATA SSDs were the first big upgrade from old hard drives. They use the same cables and ports as HDDs, which made them easy to adopt. If your computer could run a hard drive, it could run a SATA SSD, and the speed jump felt huge. Boot times dropped from minutes to seconds. Apps opened almost instantly. Even old laptops felt brand new. But SATA has a hard limit, around 550 megabytes per second. That is fast compared to hard drives, but slow compared to modern SSDs. Think of it like this. Going from walking to a bicycle feels amazing, but once you see cars on a highway, that bicycle suddenly feels slow. Today, SATA SSDs are cheap, reliable, and perfect for older systems, but they are no longer modern. Now here's a quick but important clarification. SATA is the road. AHCI is the language used on that road. AHCI was designed back when hard drives were slow and mechanical. It can only handle a small number of tasks at one time. That was fine years ago, but for modern flash storage, it becomes a bottleneck. Imagine a busy supermarket with only one cashier open. It does not matter how fast the customers are. The line still moves slowly. Every SATA SSD uses AHCI. It works, it is stable, but it is outdated. So when does a SATA SSD still make sense? If you have an old desktop or laptop from 2015 or earlier, and it does not have an M2 slot, SATA is your only option. It will still feel like a massive upgrade from a spinning hard drive. You will get faster boot times, quicker file access, and your system will feel much more responsive. Now let's clear up the biggest misunderstanding. M2 does not mean fast. M2 is only the physical shape of the SSD. It is that small stick that looks like a piece of gum and plugs directly into the motherboard with no cables. Here is the important part. Some M2 SSD are actually SATA SSD in a smaller shape. That means they are still limited to the same 550 megs per second. So never assume M2 equals speed. M2 only tells you how it fits, not how fast it is. If you see M2 SATA, just know you are paying for convenience, not speed. The benefit is that it saves space and looks cleaner inside your PC. No cables to manage. But the performance is identical to a regular SATA drive. This is where things get interesting. M2 is also the shape used by the fastest SSDs on the market. The difference is what protocol they use. And that brings us to the game changer. NVMe is the modern language built specifically for SSDs. Unlike AHCI, it was designed for flash storage from day one. NVMe can handle thousands of tasks at the same time, with much lower delay. That is why systems with NVMe feel so responsive. Games load faster, files copy in seconds. Everything feels smoother even when benchmarks do not tell the full story. If AHCI is one cashier at a store, NVMe is opening hundreds of checkout lanes at once. The difference is not just about raw speed, it is about how the drive handles multiple requests. When you are gaming and your PC is loading textures, streaming audio, running background apps, and saving your progress all at once, NVMe handles that chaos effortlessly. AHCI starts to choke, but NVMe needs a fast road to run on. That is where PCIe comes in. PCIe is the modern highway that SSDs use to talk directly to the CPU. Unlike SATA, which is like a single lane road, PCIe has multiple lanes moving data at the same time. Let's break down the generations because this is where people get lost. PCIe Gen 3 SSDs can reach around 3,500 megs per second. That is already 6 times faster than SATA. PCIe Gen 4 SSDs can go up to around 7,000 megs per second. Double Gen 3 and PCIe Gen 5, the newest standard, can hit 14,000 megs per second. That is insane on paper. But here is what really matters. For everyday use, even Gen 3 feels instant. If you are browsing the web, editing documents, watching videos, or playing most games, you will not notice a difference between Gen 3 and Gen 5. The gap shows up when you are moving huge files, like rendering 4K video, transferring 100GB game files, or working with massive databases. For those tasks, Gen 4 and Gen 5 start to shine. Gen 4 is the sweet spot right now. The drives are affordable, widely available, and supported by most motherboards made after 2019. Gen 5 is really only for professionals working with massive files daily, like uncompressed video or huge datasets. It also runs hotter and costs a lot more. Unless you know you need it, Gen 4 is the smarter buy. This speed actually matters if you game, edit videos, move large files, or multitask heavily. PCIe is now the standard for modern SSDs. If you are building a PC today or upgrading a laptop, make sure it supports at least PCIe Gen 3 NVMe. Anything less and you are leaving performance on the table. Here's something most people do not think about: compatibility. Not every M2 slot supports NVMe. Some older motherboards have M2 slots that only work with SATA drives. This is super common on laptops and budget desktops from a few years ago. Before you buy, check your motherboard manual or look up your laptop model online. Find out if your M2 slot supports NVMe and which PCIe generation it uses. This saves you from buying a Gen 4 drive only to find out your system can only run Gen 3 speeds. Also, M2 drives come in different lengths. The most common sizes are 2280 and 2242. The first two numbers are the width in millimeters. The second two numbers are the length. Most desktops support the longer 2280 size, but some ultra-thin laptops only fit 2242. Again, check before you buy. Now the question everyone actually cares about: which SSD should you buy? If your laptop or PC is more than 5 years old, a SATA SSD is still fine and saves money. You will see a huge improvement over a hard drive, and you will not be bottlenecked by your older hardware anyway. If you are building a new system or buying a modern laptop, skip SATA completely and go NVMe. Look for an M2 NVMe drive with PCIe Gen 3 at minimum. Gen 4 if your budget allows. Do not bother with Gen 5 unless you are a professional who genuinely needs the absolute fastest transfer speeds. If you game or edit videos, NVMe on PCIe Gen 4 is the sweet spot right now. You will get fast load times, smooth multitasking, and plenty of headroom for future updates. If this cleared things up for you, I would appreciate a subscribe. I break down tech like this every week without any confusion. So now you know the full picture. SATA was the starting line. AHCI was the old language. M2 is just the shape. PCIe is the highway. NVMe is what makes modern SSDs truly fast. And here's the funny part: once your system starts loading instantly, you will notice something else holding you back: your monitor. Because what is the point of a fast PC if motion looks blurry and colors look washed out? In the next video, I will explain IPS, VA, TN, and OLED in the same simple way, so you do not buy the wrong monitor. I'll see you in the next one.